Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Natasha Oquindo, and you are listening to Power to Prosper. Now, today I want to get into a topic of discussion that is clearly just one of those things that are dear to me. I want to talk about self care, but I want to talk about four major areas of self care, right? Normally, when we think about self care, we think about going to get our nails done and feeling good about ourselves and going to get our hair done and all of those things that make us feel warm and fuzzy and put us in this little good space, right? Mentally, and put us in this good space to where we feel good about ourselves. The physical side of things and looking good and feeling good about ourselves. But I kind of want to go a little deeper into it, right? Just to give us some things to think about and to discuss some things that I came to the realization of myself, right? So I want to talk about mental health. And I'm not a mental health professional or anything of that nature, but I do notice some things. I do see some things, and I've seen it with other people. I've helped other people with things, just kind of grasping these concepts. So on this broadcast now, I'm going to be talking about various things. So just so you know, we're going to talk about the spiritual side of things. We're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about our health. We're going to talk about our wellness. We're going to talk about relationships, whatever it may be. All topics are on the table where I'm concerned. So just kind of put on your seatbelt and brace yourself. Just know we're going to deal with it, right? So the mental health aspect of things, which when we talk about the mental side of things, we're dealing with the matters of the head, the matters of the mind, right? And so it includes the psychological side of things, which is the way we think. It includes the emotional side of things, which is how we feel. And then our social well being is inclusive in there, right? That's how we interact with others. And so our mental health affects how we react to others, how we interact with others. It affects how we feel, and it affects how we think, right? And so it's going to affect those things. It determines how we handle stress in our life, right? And how we relate to others. And so it also determines whether we make healthy choices in our life. So the best thing that I've seen when it comes to the mental side of things, dealing with my mental health, dealing with that part of my self-care, that deep part of my self-care, is I reflect. I reflect on things. I reflect on instances. I reflect on different things that have happened. I reflect and think about the things. I pay attention to what comes into my mind, the thoughts that comes into my mind. I try not to just let thoughts run rampant, because if you do that, then a lot of negative thoughts, you'll get an overload of negativity, because all type of fears and stuff is always coming into your mind, and all type of different things, right? And so gaining a harnessing those things, grabbing a hold to those things, not letting them linger, not letting them fester, not letting them grow, especially if they're negative. So I reflect on things. I reflect on it. I meditate on it. And listen, I'm not against therapy, right? I'm not against therapy. I'm not against medication if necessary. If it's that bad, listen, invest in your mental health. Go to therapy. Sometimes, and you speaking to somebody that came away from, I was one that used to just go and get my nails done, go and get my feet done. Well, mainly my feet. I always kind of wore my regular nails. I might get just a regular manicure with maybe some clear polish on. But I went from doing that regular to really, it's like God had me to really start investing in myself in a different way. And so, with that being said, I started to invest in myself when it came to the mental side of things, right? Doing things to enhance my mental health, if that makes sense. Start paying more attention to it. So I came away from, I probably get my feet done, maybe, get my pedicures done maybe 4 times a year. And that's being real. That's being real. And that's because I got into a different side of self-care, right? And not letting that have a hold on me. For some reason, I was on that tip about not letting something master me, especially when it comes to how I want to spend my money and how I want to do my self care. Right. So these are just some things that I'm doing myself. And my goal with my mental health, because I want to be able to have that ability to constantly think clearly and to be at peace. Right. And so that's why I'm saying if you have to, if you have to deal with certain things to the point where you may need therapy, I'm not against therapy. Um, but I think that's something that you should really look into and look close at, right? And listen, you know, when you start dealing with that, you start, and that's one of the going things that I paid attention to, trauma bonding, right? People who are bonding because of different traumas that they've been through, and that's how they're bonding. um, I'm not always in agreement with the trauma bond thing. That's just me. I want to be healthy. I know we could have gone through something similar, but I want to be on the healthy side of that trauma, right? And I want us to bond from that healthy side of the trauma. So I'm big on that. Seeing about yourself mentally, getting in your head space and really seeing what's up there, really seeing the thoughts that are coming and how to stop those thoughts, how to speak back to them. Now, I do that. I speak back to negative thoughts and I say, no, that's not it. It's this, that, and this. And I replace those things. Okay. And I'm just being real. So another area um, of self-care that I'm big on is the emotional health, because these two kind of go hand in hand. The mental health and it affects the emotional health. That's how I want to say it. Because when you're dealing with the emotional health, you're dealing with the matters of the heart, right? The things that get in your heart. Um, that's where your feelings come in, where whether you feel angry, whether you feel fearful, whether you feel joy. And I am one who is big on feeling joy and having gladness and feeling good. And so uh one thing about it, the emotional health, these are the reactions based on your mental health. So your mental health, how you are doing mentally, your emotional health, it affects it by you reacting. You're reacting. So emotionally, you're reacting off what's going on mentally, right? And these things are not seen, but these things to me, these things are self-care to me. Listen, uh, one thing I did know and that I did see that as with emotional health, there are certain practices that can be put in place to change them and to improve them. So they can be improved. Your emotional health can be improved. Your mental health can be improved. But you have to put things into practice. You have to put things into practice. And so one thing I pay attention to with emotional health is the reflecting. I like to reflect. I like to become self-aware. I start reflecting on myself and becoming self-aware and start to recognize my emotions for what they are, recognize them, pay attention to them. And then I need to see how they affect my actions. I need to see how certain things are affecting my actions. Or is it causing me to lash out in anger? Is it causing me to respond unseemly? Is it causing me to draw back? Is it causing me, to feel a heaviness? Whatever the case, I start paying attention to those things. Um, and when you do, listen, and that's where we get that word triggers from. And a lot of times we hear that word, trigger, what triggers us, and we kind of try to run from what triggers us or try to ignore it or stay away from it. But I would say, and this is what helps me, the things that trigger me, I ponder them. I sit there and I reflect on them. And I try to figure out, why does this affect me so? Why is this affecting me? Why is this making me feel like that? I try to get to the root of the problem. Because if I could uproot the problem, then I don't let the trigger have control anymore. Because different things are going to keep happening in our lives that are going to cause us to be feel triggered or feel some type of way, as we say, right? And so I learned how to self-regulate. I learned how to manage those emotions, right? In a healthy way, how to manage them, right? And I also learned how to adapt to changes, because that be the problem, adapting to changes in our circumstances, in our daily life, and adapting to changes in people in our life, because we're all changing. We're all constantly changing. And so my goal with my emotional health and really investing in that and really taking the time. When I say investing, I mean take the time to evaluate it, take the time to look into it, to ponder it, to explore it, to figure it out. Right? My goal in that is to gain the ability on how to cope with and how to regulate my emotions. And also, it is also, and let me say this, when you come to a place of being mentally healthy and emotionally healthy, then that helps you to what? Build positive relationships with other people. A lot of times we don't have those positive relationships with other people because something may be lacking with us mentally, or something may be lacking in our lives, or not quite balanced in our lives emotionally, right? And so these are different things that I reflect on and that I look into. Another thing that I want to talk about as far as self-care is physical health. Physical health. Investing in our health care. Investing in our health care. Now, I was one that was big on investing in myself when it came to getting massages and stuff like that. And that's wonderful. I'm not against spa day. I'm not. I'm not against spa day. I'm not against nail done, skin care. I'm not even against if somebody, well, I kind of am against it. Let me reword that. But to each his own. Let me say it like that. If somebody wants to go and get some type of cosmetic surgery to make themselves feel better, um, I'm not one that's into it, but somebody else may be. So I'm not going to knock somebody else who is. But when I talk about the physical side, I'm talking about regular doctor's visits, and I'm in medical, dental, chiropractor. You know what I mean? I figured out as I lost weight and came through my weight loss journey that I needed to go to the chiropractor. And so I invest in my health by going to the chiropractor, right? I invest by going to see the pain specialist about my jaw, dealing with my TMJ and keeping that regulated. And so to me, these things are self-care, right? Also, practicing clean eating, practicing clean eating. Now, I use vegan condiments, but I have not gone completely vegan. Now, I stay away from beef as much as possible, as I possibly can, but I've changed my eating habits tremendously. Um, I still eat fish. I still eat, sometimes I eat chicken and stuff like that. But cleaning up my eating practices. And we all know that food is expensive. It gets expensive. And so to me, my self-care is investing in the proper foods for my body so that my body can be stronger, so that I can have energy, so that I can feel better. Right. And so here it is. Also, I want to talk about getting your body moving, exercising. That's another way that I invest in my self care. I bought me a bicycle. I like to ride the bicycle. Buying, my exercise stuff, the stuff that I like to exercise in and things of that nature, but not being caught up so much as how I look when I'm exercising, but more so of having the things that I need, whether it's the weights or whether it's the uh, and I'll even say that my vitamin regimen. That's another thing. When I think about my physical health, I certain vitamins that I like to take regular, right? Also getting the right amount of sleep. Getting the right amount of sleep. I need between 7 and 9 hours. That's me. For me to function and feel good and to feel well rested, I need to do that. So, sometimes that may be looking into what's causing you not to be able to sleep. Why do you have sleep apnea if that be the case? Why are you not sleeping? Why are you not resting? Why are you sleeping and then feeling like you didn't sleep at all? Figuring those things out, going to a specialist, spending that time, spending that money to invest in you in that way so that your body can function, so that it can be better. And even when I talk about the exercising and activity, y'all, it even if you start out with something small, like 7 minutes. I started out 7 minutes a day. This was like a year or so ago. 7 minutes a day. And I quickly advanced to the 10-minute exercise routines, and then 15, and then 20, then 30, and so forth. And now I'm doing, I did the 5.8 miles. I did an increase in my bicycling on my bike trail. And I did 5 miles, shy over 5 miles. And I did it in, I think, 40 something minutes, not even quite an hour. And so it progresses, it grows as you put the work in, right? And so, last but not least, I want to touch as far as self care, the ones that are important to me and what I found to be very important, and literally they'll make everything else make sense now. Uh, a lot of times, and I'm gonna give you this. I had problem skin. I remember having problem skin. But once I went to see about my physical health and figured out that certain hormone levels in my life were not where they needed to be, that was causing my skin to break out. And so once I went to the doctor and invested in that and figured out what hormones were lacking and did the things that I needed to do, ate the things that I needed to eat to get them back balanced out, right? And then the skin started coming into alignment, right? And so, nothing against skincare, but sometimes you got to go deeper within to figure out what the problems are and take care of those problems and then do the regimens on top of it. Uh, just like I was investing in going and getting massages, not knowing that, okay, I'm out of alignment. I need the chiropractor. And once I invest in myself in the chiropractor, then the massages can what? Be the icing on the cake, per se. Now, last but definitely not least, uh, the fourth one is spiritual health. Now, everybody can have some form of faith or organized religion, nothing against any of it, whatever floats your boat. But as for me, my faith is in Jesus Christ. I believe in him, in Christ, and him crucified. I'm saved, set free, and delivered, right? And so for me, it's studying the word and prayer, of course, meditation, and you may do affirmations and all of that. But I kind of want to touch on this spiritual side and go just a little bit deeper, right? Because those are the known things. People are doing the spirituality thing, affirmations and meditations and all of these different things to get you in that Zen place or get your spirit to quiet down, right? So it is not chaotic, and because that runs you crazy when your spirit is just chaotic. It's so much clutter, so much, and there's so much being said and done constantly in the world around us. Things are changing constantly. Things are moving. Things are shifting. Things are happening constantly. But one thing, and just a few little things that I want to put out, few nuggets. One thing that I found to be very, very helpful spiritually is to reflect on the things that I'm thankful for. Literally daily finding and noticing and acknowledging things that I am thankful for. Oh God, I'm just thankful that worked out. God, I'm thankful because I see how this worked out. And when you start really reflecting and start acknowledging and making yourself be able to see the good or see what could have happened, right? Or see the good, then good starts building up in you, putting you more in a positive space, per se. Um, the second thing, after reflecting on the things that I'm thankful for, is practicing showing gratitude, seeing areas of where I am grateful. Grateful meaning, okay, this person reached out to me and said hi. This person, being grateful, genuinely fostering that feeling of gratitude, showing gratitude, where I'm letting somebody else know that I'm grateful for you. I'm proud of you, or, I see what you're doing. I see you, right? And so that's another thing. And then the last thing I want to give is practicing forgiveness. These things that I'm talking about are spiritual things that adds on, that deepens that spiritual health or takes you to a spiritually healthy place. Practicing forgiveness. Practice. And I say it just like that, practicing, because you have to practice this. You have to practice forgiveness. You have to practice not holding grudges against people because they may not have spoke to you, or they may not have said this to you, or they didn't congratulate you, or they didn't celebrate you, or, and then it may be deep-rooted things, deep-seated things that happen, whether it was childhood traumas or things of that nature. But practicing forgiveness is very, very major in your spiritual health, right? And so these are some of the things that I wanted to share on today's episode of Power to Prosper. I'm here to help you prosper, whether it's wisdom, whether it's advice, whether I say something that puts you in a different space, that shifts the way you think or the way you perceive to get you to your next level, whether that's in your life, whether that's in ministry, whether that's in business, or even relationships, whatever area it is, that's where I'm here for. And so listen, if you have to go back and listen to this one again, this is one for the books to go back and listen to again. But I believe these are four major areas of self-care that needs to be invested in, that needs to be taken more seriously, that needs to be put on the forefront. And I believe when they are in place, when they are intact and they are in alignment, that it has the power to bring all other areas into alignment, right? This has been Power to Prosper. I am your host, Natasha Oquindo. Visit my website at natashaoquindo.com. I got some goodies on there. Go and pick up my free gift, right? I loved you. Be blessed. And this is your time to prosper.